You made it. Not to the end, not to finished, not to perfect. You made it to becoming. And becoming is one of the most beautiful places a person can be. Welcome back to SSQJ Chronicles, the space where Black empowerment, faith, and life lessons intersect. I am SSQJ, and we have made it to the finale of the beauty of you. What a month it has been. We went back to the very beginning in week 1. We went all the way back to the beginning in week 1 and established the foundation. You were made in God's image, distorted by the fall, restored by Jesus, the great restorer. That gets me every time. Because he truly is the great restorer. In week 2, we got bold and got honest. Naming racism, naming colorism as racism's weapon, naming the crab barrel mentality, and calling every distortion subject to the blood of Jesus, that has never lost its potency and never will. And in week 3, across 2 episodes, I was crazy for doing 2 episodes of week 3, but oh well. We did the deep work. We faced our wounds. We named the bleeding. We talked about dysfunctional functionality and the difference between a past job and real healing. We sat with a woman with the alabaster box. We poured our all out, and we received the truth that when we pour out to God, He pours into us. And after that pour, we are never the same. And this week we celebrate. Not because everything is resolved, not because the healing is complete, not because you have arrived at some finished, polished, have it all together version of Chef, but because right here, right now, in this unfinished, resilient, still in process season, you are beautiful. And it is time you knew it. I want to talk about what is actually me to be in a season of becoming. Because I think we have conditioned to see becoming as a waiting room, a transitional space between who we were and who we are going to be, something to endure until we arrive at the real thing. But what if becoming is not the space before the destination? What if becoming is the destination? Think about a seed. A seed does not apologize for being a tree yet. A seed does not wait until it becomes a tree before it decides to have value. The seed is already exactly what it's supposed to be at the stage of the process. And the process itself, the breaking open, the reaching toward light, the slow and sometimes hidden growth. It is not a delay, it is the design. Say it again. It is not a delay, it is the design. You are not behind. You are not incomplete in a way that disqualifies you. You are in process. And being in process is not a lesser state of existence. It is one of the most alive, most dynamic, most God-inhabited places a person can be. Philippians 1:6 says, He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. He began it, He is carrying it, He will complete it. You are not responsible for finishing yourself. You are not responsible for staying in the hands of the one who is doing the work. And those hands, they are the hands of the God who is sovereign, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, and the epitome of agape love. You are not becoming despite his attention. You are becoming because of it. I want to take a moment to honor something that does not get celebrated nearly enough, and that is resilience. The Black community has carried weight that should have broken us completely. Centuries of deliberate dehumanization, systems designed to exclude, standards crafted to diminish, wounds passed down through generations. And yet, here we are, creating, building, loving, worshiping, leading, thriving in the cracks of systems that were never designed to hold us. That is not just survival. That is something that does not have a sufficient word in the English language. It is resilience multiplied by faith, multiplied by the grace of God who never stopped working on behalf of his people. And I want to say this clearly. Your resilience is not just a coping mechanism. It is not just a personality trait. It is evidence. Evidence that something in you refused to be fully designed by what was done to you. Evidence that the image of God in you, the one the distortion tried to cover, the one racism and colorism tried to diminish, the one comparison tries to erase, never stopped asserting itself. Your resilience is beautiful, not necessarily because suffering is beautiful, but because of what you choose to be in the middle of the suffering. Keep going, keep creating, keep loving, keep becoming. That is one of the most stunning and beautiful expressions of the image of God that exists. There is a piece of Black literature that keep coming to my mind while planning for this series. Tupac's The Rose That Grew from Concrete. Think about that image. Concrete is not a growing environment. It is not designed to sustain life. It is hard, unyielding, hostile to roots. And yet, the rose grows anyway. Not in spite of the concrete, but through it. Finding every crack, every opening, every sliver of possibility, and showing and choosing life regardless. Tupac was not just writing poetry. He was describing a people. Jasmine Holmes, in her work Carved in Ebony, honors the Black women throughout history who carry faith, purpose, and dignity across conditions designed to erase them. Women whose stories were not written in places of privilege or ease, but carved in ebony, permanent, impossible to erase no matter how hard the world tried. Their legacies are not footnotes, they are foundations, and we stand on them. And Maya Angelou, Still I Rise. 3 words that carry centuries of defiance, dignity, and declaration. Not I might rise, not I hope to rise, but still I rise. Present tense, certain, unapologetically. Miss Angelou was not just writing about herself, she was writing for every Black person who has ever been pushed down, written off, counted out, and underestimated and choose to rise anyway. That poem is an expression of perseverance. That poem is resilience made literature. That poem is the rose that from concrete given a voice, and the scripture that holds all of it together. In Romans 8:28, read, and we're going to read the whole thing because we often stop too soon. It says, we know that all things work together for the good of those who love God and who have been called according to his purpose. Called according to his purpose. It does not stop at loving God. Loving God is the beginning, but being called according to his purpose is the completion. So read it again. Say it again. Being called according to his purpose. Being loving God is the beginning, but being called according to his purpose is the completion. The suffering was not purposeless. The concrete was not accidental. The struggle was not wasted, because the same God who allowed it is the same God who called you according to a purpose that existed before the suffering even began. And James chapter 1 verses 3 and 1 tells us why the testing was allowed in the first place. The testing of your faith produces perseverance. The perseverance finishes its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything, not lacking anything, not lacking anything, not lacking anything, not lacking anything. That reminds me of Psalms 23:1. But let's keep going. The very struggles that were designed to diminish us, the oppression, the suppression, the dehumanization, the generational wounds, were producing in us something that ease and comfort never could have. Perseverance, maturity, completeness. A people who know how to hold on to God in the dark because they have had to. A person who know how to find beauty in the most unlikely places because surviving required it. A people who are not lacking anything because God used every hard thing to make sure of it. That is the beauty. That is the Black community. That has always been the Black community, growing in conditions that were deliberate, engineered to prevent the growth, blooming in places that were designed to be barren, finding beauty, creating beauty, and in the harshest, most unlikely soil, and not just surviving in it, thriving, producing something so magnificent and exquisite that the whole world stops in its tracks and stares. And here is what I need us to claim as we close this month. We have an innate gift, a God-given, culturally inherited, deeply embedded gift to find the beauty within everything, in the struggle and in the celebration, in the breaking and in the becoming, in the concrete and in the art, music, worship, innovation, and community this world has ever seen. Now it is time to turn that gift inward, to find the beauty within ourselves with the same clarity and convictions we have always found it everywhere else. To realize it, to own it, to walk in it, unapologetically, unashamedly, fully, not performing it for anyone, not performing it for anyone. but to realize it, to own it, to walk in it unapologetically, unashamedly, fully, not performing it for anyone, not waiting for permission, not just walking in it because it was always there, not just waiting for permission, but just walking in it because it was always there and it has always been ours. I want to speak directly to you for a moment, not a crowd, but to you. The you that showed up this month carrying something that the you that watched week 1 and felt the foundation shift to a little under your feet. The you that sat through week 2 and had to be honest about what standards you've had been measuring yourself against. The you that went through week 3 or both parts of week 3 and felt some things come up that you have not looked at directly in a long time. I see you and I want you to know something. This season you are in right now, this exact one, with its unfinished edges and its open questions and its still healing places. This season is not a lesser version of your life. It is not the rough draft before the real thing begins. This is your life right now, and it is worth being honored. Not the version of you that has it all together, not the version that has completed the healing, resolved the questions, and arrived at its destination. This version, the one reading this, the one still in it. You are not too broken to be beautiful. I'm going to say it again. You are not too broken to be beautiful. You are not too unfinished to be worthy. You are not too in process to be seen, celebrated, and deeply connected love by God, by this community, and by yourself. The beauty of becoming is that it is happening right now in you, whether you can see it or not. We have talked all month about beauty, and I want to bring it full circle before we close. When bitterness would be easier, the way you keep showing up, the way you choose compassion when bitterness would be easier, the way you keep showing up even when you are tired, the way you extend grace to yourself on the days you fall short, the way your faith holds even when your feelings do not cooperate. That is internal beauty, and it grows in season of becoming more than any other season, because becoming requires you to reach for something you have not fully grasped, and that reaching builds something in you that cannot be manufactured any other way. External beauty is the physical expression of a person who is at peace with what God put on them. And I want to say something specifically to the Black community here at the close of this month. There is nothing more beautiful than a Black person who has made peace with exactly what God gave them, the skin in every shade, from the lightest to the deepest, the hair in every texture, the features that carry the history and the glory of a people who were made in the image of God and had never stopped reflecting it. When you wear what God gave you with confidence and peace in a world that spent centuries telling you it was not enough, that it was not just beauty, that it was resistance. When you wear what God gave you with confidence and peace in a world that spent centuries telling you it was not enough. That is not just beauty, beloveds. That is resistance. That is testimony. That is the image of God inserting itself into the most personal, visible, undeniable way. And I want to say something important about these two dimensions of beauty, internal and external. They are not separate conversations. They are not two isolated things that happen to coexist. They are connected deeply, directly, visibly connected, because what happens on the inside always shows up on the outside. I can speak to this personally. When I did the work on the beauty within, when I started addressing the wounds, releasing the distortions, healing the places that had been patched over, it showed up on the outside. There is a glow that comes from a person who is at peace with who they are, not a filter, not a performance. A real, visible, from the inside out glow that other people notice and comment on, even when you are not trying, because you are not performing beauty anymore. You are living from it. Internal affects external. Always. You cannot do the real work on the inside and have it stay hidden. It will show. It shows in how you carry yourself and how you speak about yourself, in the way you walk into the room, in the ease with which you receive love and give it. The glow is not a cosmetic. The glow is evidence. Evidence that healing happened. Evidence that the restored image is becoming more visible. Evidence that the beauty of God in you is no longer being covered by shame, by performance, by the weight of distortions that were never yours to carry. You are fearfully and wonderfully made, not eventually, not after the healing is complete. Right now, as you are in this season, in this skin, in this story. Before I close, I sound like these preachers before I close. Before we come to a close, before we wrap this up, how about that? I want you to see this, to see the thread that runs through this entire month, because I do not think it is an accident. We started week 1 with the foundation. You were made in the image of God. And he didn't just call it good, but he called it very good. Distorted by the fall, restored by Jesus, the great restorer. Then we went to week 2 and we named everything, every voice that has tried to redefine that image. Racism, colorism as racism's weapon, the crab barrel mentality. We gon' dig deep into that crab belly mentality in another episode later on down the line. Yeah, the spirit, and we might have to dig in deep into this. Yeah, I ain't gonna talk too much. Let me keep going. The spirit of comparison and competition. And we call every one of them what they are. Distortions. Not the truth, not the final word. Distortions. Subject to the blood of Jesus, that is. That has never lost its potency and never will. It never will. Then we went into week 3. And we did the honest, courageous, sometimes uncomfortable work of healing. We faced the wounds. We named the healing. We talked about what it means to care for the whole person. Physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, and spiritually. 5 dimensions of health. Basic dimensions of health it is, because, you got the subcategories. Okay, I'm not going. I can't do no tangents because I ran out last week. We sat with the woman with the alabaster box, and we poured our all out, and we received the promise that we pour out to God. He pours into us, and after that pour, and what we look like is the restored image, the one from week 1. That image of God made in his likeness. Okay, no tangents. Do you see it? The whole month is one complete circle. We began with the image. We named what the story is. We did the work of healing it, and we end here the beauty of becoming as people who are actively, progressively God, faithfully being restored to the original. That is not coincidence. That is his design for you and me. And I want to name something here that I think gives this circle even more weight. Dr. Joy DeGruy in her groundbreaking. I love this book, y'all. This book on post-traumatic slave syndrome. Documented what many of us have felt but could not always name: the deep generational psychological and emotional wounds that centuries of enslavement, dehumanization, and systematic oppression left on the Black community. Wounds that were passed down through generations, not by choice, but by trauma. Wounds that show up in how we pour ourselves, how we relate to each other, and how we move through a world that has never fully reckoned with what it did. The work is real, the wound is real, and name it the way Dr. DeGruy named it is itself an act of healing. Because you cannot address what you refuse to acknowledge. I'm going to say that one more time. Because you cannot address what you refuse to acknowledge. So, I'm going to keep that to myself. I can't. I'm trying to wrap this up because this is still longer where I want it to be. But here is what I also know. What was designed for oppression, suppression, and suffering, God used it for good. Romans 8:28 is not a dismissal of pain. It is a declaration about the God who works in all things, not some things, not the easy things, but all things, for the good of them who love him and called according to his purpose. And we love him and we called, okay? The enslavement was not God's design. the enslavement. Let me be the child enslavement. Slavery was. Let me not get to country. Was not God's design. The dehumanization was not God's plan. But God, in his sovereignty, took what the enemy meant for destruction and has been producing from it something the enemy never anticipated. A people of extraordinary resilience, extraordinary creativity, extraordinary faith, extraordinary beauty. A people who rise every single time, not because the wound was not real, but because the guy who heals is real life. It's big God. And even broken people, people still in the process of healing, still carrying the weight of generational wounds, still becoming. Even broken people have beauty. Even broken people have something to pour out. Even broken people are held in the hands of a God who does not discard what he made. He restores it. And the restored image is more breathtaking than the word ever wanted us to believe. I am reminded of a song by Israel and Newbury featuring Doe called Broken People. The message is simple and it is everything. Broken people are not disqualified people. Broken people are not finished people. Broken people are people in the process of being made whole by a God who specializes in exactly that. And I am reminded of tweets I was created for this. It's more than a song, but it's a declaration of identity and purpose that refuses to be shaken by circumstance. You were captured for this season, this becoming, this life, not accidentally, not insufficiently, but intentionally, purposefully, with everything you need already placed inside you by the one who made you. That is Black artistry, pointing to internal truth. That is our music, our poetry, our literature, doing what it has always done, holding up a mirror and showing us who we really are when the world has spent so long trying to tell us otherwise. So I want to close this series with something a little personal, not too personal, because you can't put out your business out there. Because I think the most powerful thing I can offer you is not something I just study, but what I actually am in this season of becoming. Because baby, and this I'm just in the beginning of my season of becoming. I'm in the season, yeah. SSQJ Chronicles itself is a season of becoming. Let me tell you. You lunch this, I lunch this. I'm saying we. It's just me and God. So I guess it is we. It's not I. Lunch this in February 2026. This year. Still finding the voice of this channel. Still trying to find my voice. Okay. Still growing to what God designed wants me to be. And there are days when I look at it and see everything is not yet, because I don't know what I'm doing. This content thing is not for me. Never desire to be a content creator. Never in a million years. I'm still contemplating on whether if I should still continue this, because this is not me. I like to be behind the scenes. I love helping people, but I love helping people behind the scenes. I'm an introvert. Introvert ain't got nothing to do with being quietness. But being shy, being quiet. I'm an introvert, so saying that pouring out in this way is exhausting. If that makes sense. Like I don't receive energy. This doesn't like gratify me. This is like was important. But as I pour, I believe God's gonna pour back into me. And I just like to stay to myself. I don't like to be on nobody's camera. I don't even like taking pictures, bro. So this is a little meta to me. Then going back here in the side of my voice, it's all of it is a little strange, you know? Because like I said, I don't know if I said before, like, I'm not an orator. I'm not well spoken. I'm not articulate. Baby, I was in speech therapy. Heavy speech therapy. In the early years of my life. Got multiple speech impediments. That's why you hear me repeat myself a whole bunch. Because I don't know if I'm saying it right. I don't know if I'm pronouncing these words right. My stuttering been good so far. Because this ain't me. I'm the behind the scenes chick. But I felt the leading of the pull of God. And I had wanted to be obedient. You know? So, I am still becoming. I don't know what this gonna lead to. I don't know how long I'm gonna do this channel. Whatever, however the Lord leads me, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm at that point. Whatever the Lord say, I'm gonna do it whether it makes sense or not. Because let me tell you, this does not make sense to me. Okay, it doesn't make sense to me at all. I am a chill person. Laid back. There is nothing about me that's outgoing. Outside of my group of friends, my close group of friends today, people hardly ever see the outgoing side of me. I promise you. So when I'm saying this is out of the box, but in order to become, you have to be outside the box. I don't know what's next to this, but I am still in my coming. This channel is still in this becoming, cause baby, low budget. We doing this free 99. Ain't got no fancy equipment, all that. Okay. This is still in the becoming. I ain't got all that equipment. Listen, I'm just got my computer, my phone, and this light. Okay. So it is what it is. Just step. I'm in my becoming. Very beginning of my becoming. I'm just honored that God allowed me to still be here. That's all I'm gonna say. Cause this is getting too long. So let me wrap up. Cause everything about SSQJ. I guess that's gonna be my brand name. My initials. Susan is still in process. Susan got some unfinished edges. But this month has reminded me to look at everything that not just with this content creation stuff, but to look at everything differently. To look at the way God views me, the call of my life, the purpose of my life, the predestination, all of that. To look at it the way God looks at it. Not as incomplete, but as becoming. Not as behind, but as right on time. Not as less than, but as exactly what it was supposed to be at this stage of the process. Like I'm ready to say, I said I wasn't going to do a tangent, but I still don't even do a tangent. Okay. And what I know is this, the beauty of this community, of you showing up week after week, of you being willing to go to the hard place, of you choosing to believe that your becoming matters, that this is one of the beautiful things I have ever had the privilege of witnessing. So thank you for trusting me. Not trusting me. You ain't got to trust me, but trusting this space and trusting the God in me with your journey this month. Genuinely, thank you. I do not take it for granted, because baby, who is I? Who is me? Okay. I'm just a willing vessel, just a servant, just a daughter of the Most High God. Okay. I ain't finna get happy right there. Okay, but here is your not revelation. Here is your final reflection prompt for May. Your send off into June and beyond. And baby, if you thought May was heavy, oh, we get into some stuff in June. If you thought April and May was heavy, we get some stuff in June. We get into some nicks and crannies. So I got this feeling in my head in June. So hold on tight. This is just the groundwork, the root work into June. We get it into so I ain't gonna tell you what it is. Hold tight, stay tuned. It's almost here. June is coming. But what's your reflection prompt? The reflection prompt for May. What is one thing about your season of becoming that you are ready to stop apologizing for and start celebrating? Read it one more time. What is one thing about your season of becoming that you are ready to stop apologizing for and start celebrating? And I'm gonna drop this question in the comment section. And I'm gonna pin it. Okay, but not someday, not when you finish, but when you arrive now. Write it down, say it loud, share it in the comments if you feel moved to and you feel comfortable to. It is a safe day, because your becoming deserves to be witnessed, and this community is here for you. This thing, I'm almost finished, y'all. Like literally, I'm gonna have to start cutting, trimming some fat, because these videos too long. I know people's teaching spans not that long. But before I sign off, I want to take a moment to honor what we did together, because it's not small. We went back to the beginning and reclaimed our foundation. We named the distortions and called them out so that they could be cast out by faith. We faced wounds we have been patching over. We named the bleeding internal and external. We talked about dysfunction financial and what it's cost to keep performing fine. We gave ourselves permission to heal between condemnation and conviction. We sat with the woman with the alabaster box, which y'all depending on the version, and poured it all out. And we received something on the other side of that pour, that distortion or standard and voice that from the inside has the authority to take away. I know it sounds like I'm repeating myself. I am repeating myself so it can seep into your soul. Okay, that's the reason. That's another reason why I'm here. We receive ourselves as God made us, restored, becoming beautiful. The beauty of you was never just a theme. It was an invitation. I hope that over the course of this month, this series, something in you accepted it, not perfectly, not completely, but genuinely, because you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are black and beautiful. You are the image of God, distorted by the word, yes, but never destroyed, and actively right now being restored by the one who designed you in the first place. Recognizing your beauty is not vanity, it is alignment, and I hope may move you a little further into the alignment than you were when we started. Now discover the beauty of you. And this has been another SSQJ.